Hey, Andre Lapar, Clash Endurance here. We got some of my good old friends, Graham Partain, Florida Bicycle Adventures, Karlos Bernhart, Single Track Samurai. These are some instrumental folks in helping us launch this Old Florida Gravel event that we're bringing to you this November. Um, I've known Graham, coming on 20 years now, doing a ton of riding. Through Graham, I met Karlos, who combined between these two guys, they've probably ridden, I'd say, every dirt road in the state of Florida, if not really close to. So, yeah, why don't you guys quick introduce yourselves? We'll go with Graham first. A little bit about you and your bike history.
Do we go all the way back to the triathlon stuff, or we leave that out?
Well, however far back you want to go, man.
I'm a former triathlete, yeah, and that's how I know Andre, and lived in Claremont for a lot of years. I've reformed into dirt road riding and really got into bike packing with Karlos, and I've always been a route guy and loved developing routes. And so when right before the pandemic, I'd come up with some gravel routes and dirt road routes that were really exciting. And I knew Karlos was into that type of event. So we started chatting about that. And our first big event together was Kings Road, which is a gravel across Florida event we do every year now. And that started back 2020, I believe it was. And now I've fallen in love with bike packing and route development with Karlos. He is the heart and soul of that. And I've learned so much from him and learned how to be a good steward of our land in Florida. And it's been the best 5 years on a bike, really, since getting to know Karlos. I've got a bike packing bike now. I've got a tent. I sleep in a tent now and then. And it's fun, when you approach me about doing a gravel event. I actually had always wanted to do, and spoiler alert, I always wanted to do a gravel event from a dirt road track in Florida, sort of like a Paris-Roubaix, if you will, of gravel riding, and use it like the dirt track is the finish, right? Like Paris-Roubaix in true Florida fashion. We have so many dirt tracks, and I'd actually eyeballed this particular track this event is at a few years ago and started a few rides from there because it is a beautiful dirt track, still active. And the way this is coming together, I'm super excited. So this is exactly the kind of thing I enjoy, is exposing people to some of the best places in Florida and what Florida really is. It's not Disney World.
Yeah, and you mentioned Alltech Raceway. We'll get into that in a little bit. Some of the history there and some of the just cool racing and environment that they provide. But also, we've got Karlos Bernhart, Single Track Samurai. Guys, he does some of the coolest bike packing adventures in the state of Florida. Bike packing, if you're not familiar, it's a whole nother level of just really adventure and being out there. But Karlos, go ahead, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and how you're tying into this crazy business with Old Florida Gravel.
Sure. For the past 2 decades, I've mapped over 2,800 miles of routes in the state of Florida. The sole focus of my events is ultra endurance off-road. So yes, some people can camp while they do my events, but some people choose to ride, 370 miles straight through. It's a very challenging kind of activity, dynamic in the fact that we celebrate the folks who go fast and we celebrate the folks who just finish. Really, the events I organize are about the challenge. And when Andre approached me about putting on a big production gravel event, and he told me he had kind of like the same vision. He wanted to celebrate both sides of the coin, like everybody's important, like not only the fast people, but the people who just finish. I was definitely on board because most of the events I put on, to be honest, are self-supported. You're on your own out there. Whereas, the kind of event that Clash is going to put on, you're going to have aid stations, you're going to have traffic control, you're going to have a party, a big old party. I mean, it's exciting. So to have the opportunity to share my expertise with Clash, to put on something that has never been done in Florida at this level, is super exciting. I'm really glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, I'm blessed to have known you guys for so long and be able to tap into your resource. So, quick overview for those who don't know: Old Florida Gravel. It's November 8th, 9th in Lake City, Florida. at Alltech Raceway. It's an old historic, like Graham said, a dirt track, racing track, car racing from the 70s. Really cool history there. The owner, Wendell Duran, super nice guy. He's an old race car driver from the 80s and 90s, and there's just so many cool stories to be had there. But basically, a quick event overview is Saturday. We have RV camping on site, tent camping. We're only a stone's throw down from Kentucky Springs State Park and some of the best tourist spots and most Instagrammable picture spots for and swimming holes in the state of Florida. That's a whole nother topic. But we're going to have bike demos. We have a number of bike shops bringing in demo fleets. So come try before you buy. A bunch of merchants out. We also are going to have kids races on the dirt track. So you want to bring from as young as 4 years old on Strider bikes. So we're really trying to build this into all things bike that Saturday at the Speedway to just come out and have fun. We have our Red Line Relay, which is kind of a NASCAR on bikes thing where your relay team gets his own stall on pit road. But I think the big daddy of them all is going to be that Sunday, Old Florida Gravel. We're offering 3 options. So there's the 35-mile, the 70-mile, and the 100-mile. It's not the 300-mile events that Karlos puts on that are across the state. This is I think the 35 is a real just chance for people to get their feet wet. Maybe they're curious about what gravel is, and the 100-mile that's a full day on the bike. That'll be challenging, but kind of go through those options. And then for those who are coming as a +1, we also have a 5K and a 10K that morning on just some of the amazing dirt roads right out of the back of the Speedway. So, and then we're going to have a great post-race party, barbecue. We'll have some vegetarian options as well, but just a great place right off of I-75, pull right in, park. I mean, it's a racetrack that's, used to hosting thousands of people. So for us as a home base to be able to build out this bike village and all the resources you guys need for, a big event, we have it. So, Graham, you've been there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, what you've seen and felt when you were at that Speedway there?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, I knew like the space is perfect for like some sort of cycling event. And I always wanted to do something because it's got, like you said, it's got tons of space for camping. They have electric hookups for RVs because they still host races there. They're still actively racing there. And so it's perfect for bringing in an event this size. And the roads that surround that area are perfect as well. I mean, it is surrounded by canopy, lime rock, beautiful roads. I mean, we do events like the Gateway 100K that like goes straight by that racetrack. And we do a lot of bike packing events that go right through High Springs and right through Fort White and all these places. We use the same exact roads. And that's why when you said you wanted to do, I put together a route within 20 minutes because I already have ridden everything out there. Me and Karlos have been through there with various bike packing events. And so it was a no-brainer. I'm like, this dirt track is in the middle of some of the most pristine dirt roads in all of Florida. It's remarkable. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah. So Karlos, those roads in and out. Why don't you, for those folks who aren't familiar with them or familiar with kind of, gravel or dirt road riding in Florida, what are they going to encounter? Is it going to be sandy? Is it going to be muddy? I mean, what are they going to see when they're out there riding, especially in that November timeframe?
The area that the riders are going to be traversing is part of the River Rise corridor, which historically speaking is an area that's been traveled by indigenous inhabitants for years and years because it's a natural land bridge over the Santa Fe River. So we have a corridor that is ancient, that is being, that's been traveled for 10,000 years, to say the least. And that River Rise corridor has tons of lime rock. So the majority of what the riders will ride is a lime rock course, a lime rock, limestone. It's essentially pavement, but perfectly smooth. What the local rural communities do, one of the cool features of this route is that these are all rural roads. This is public roads. This is not, we do a lot of roads where we're traversing national forests and wildlife management areas. The unique feature about this area is that it's all rural roads. It's all open. No need to go into any parks, which is super cool because it's kind of rare in a sense. If you go anywhere out west or up north and you're traversing 100 miles of gravel, a lot of that is in public land, like, BLMs or national forest. Well, this is really a unique feature. It's kind of like, your typical rural dirt, but unique to Florida because it's strictly limestone. So lots of limestone, and as you approach the rivers, lots of ups and downs. So they'll be pleasantly surprised by the downhills and the uphills. They'll definitely feel transported, like they'll feel like they traveled to another state, even though they may be from out of state. They'll definitely feel transported in such a short distance because it's just a really beautiful area. Very
Yeah,
unique.
it's packed out there. I've ridden out there. I mean, some of it, it's almost like riding on concrete with a little bit of light sand dusted across the top. And then you mentioned some of the rollers. I mean, for the gearheads out there, they can still run a one by, or they're going to have to go with a double chain ring up front, or what are we talking? It's still
Uh, I
floor.
think I think both are applicable. Run what you brung, as the saying goes. Both would be fine. It really depends on your riding style, but don't. I think that folks who expect it to be completely flat will probably be not disappointed that it's not completely flat because they'll definitely have an opportunity to coast. There won't be straight pedaling for whatever distance you choose. There'll be some coasting. There'll be some really fast downhills, and at that time of year, conditions should be perfect. It's really just not only perfect in terms of the amount of moisture that the soil will have for the proper composition so that you can have the best riding conditions possible, but temperature wise, it'll be just perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Graham, I mean, you were instrumental in helping carving these routes out. What are some insights you see from across the 35 or the 70 or the 100? Anything that riders should be aware of, or I think particularly for the 35, because we've had a lot of people asking, coming across our social and emails, is, hey, what kind of bike can I ride?
Mhm.
Can I do it on a tandem? Do I really need a gravel bike? It's like, what do you see, especially for those people thinking about doing the 35 to just really see what the gravel scene is about? What do you think is just a way to get their feet wet?
Yeah, I think that part of the route, especially 38 or 40 millimeter tires, is fine. Those roads are not typically very sandy. There's some bumps and things. And you definitely want a gravel bike. I wouldn't take a road bike on a ride like that. You could. I mean, I've ridden those roads on a road bike. I mean, years ago, that's all we had. I used to ride through there on road bikes all the time. But and the cool thing, one of the most memorable things about a lot of these roads is the canopies. These are what we call tree tunnels, and you're just surrounded and covered with tree tunnels. You're just going through these ancient roads like Carlos talked about, with oak trees just growing across and over. I mean, it's quite an experience. The beauty of these areas and going through these rural roads where people live, and people take care of this area, and they're really proud of it. I'm really glad they haven't paved all this stuff. It's hard to find roads like this. I mean, I've been trying to find some roads through South Florida right now. Everything's paved. This whole area is full of these beautiful roads, and I hope they never pave any of it because you really don't need to. And they keep them up too.
That's interesting you say that, is because we've gotten questions, what percentages of these routes are going to be paved versus unpaved, and it's interesting when you use the mapping software, you go out and drive it. A lot of these roads are designated as paved roads, but you drive and you're like, it's definitely not paved, but it rides so smooth. It's lime rock, but it's not paved. So, kind of for general layperson who is coming to the area new, kind of what percentages would you say are paved versus not paved?
Gosh, I guess I'd have to go to the route and really do the breakdown because, right now, because Ride with GPS, when we route these things, does not accurately depict how much dirt is out there. And so, I would say, it's probably 60%, 70% dirt. There's definitely some bike path. We're trying to make this as safe as possible. The reason why I do this is because, this is a really safe and comfortable way and relaxing way to ride a bike as opposed to being in traffic. So these roads have all been developed with that in mind. That's what I like to do. I like to enjoy my bike ride. I don't like being in traffic that much. And so what these roads give you are these beautiful back roads and dirt roads that are, lightly traveled and enjoyable and relaxing to be on. So there's really there's very little exposure to traffic, and I'm glad to hear, like, you guys will be doing traffic control. You get to go through some really cool areas and visit some neat towns like Fort White and Brantford that are old Florida towns. I mean, if you get all the way on the longer ride, you're going to be going into Brantford on the Swanee River, which is hundreds of years old. That was, an old timber town, and has, there's still some of that infrastructure there if you know what you're looking for. The history of this area is quite unique, and this is old Florida. This is the place. These are the places I like to share with people, and I go on these rides, and Carlos does the same thing. I start telling stories about these places because I'm just so obsessed with the history of these areas and what old Florida is about. It's really fun to dig in and see what's really happened here over the hundreds of years it's been around.
Yeah, and the cool thing is these. You mentioned some of these towns. O'Brien, Fort White. And if you Google these towns, I mean, their populations are 600 people, 800 people. I mean, it's a side of Florida that visitors from out of state they're not used to seeing, right? I mean, and you mentioned some of the history. I mean, Carlos, you know so much of it. You got a couple of snippets or a couple of unique factoids about this route, things that people may encounter?
Man, there's Graham enjoys like the modern history, where I really, really enjoy like the ancient history. I really like to dig into the indigenous histories of the Swanee River Valley, and the fact that there was at a time period that area supported like 50,000 people. I mean, that's just mind blowing. The history that's in the Swanee River Valley and along the land bridge area and all that area, just that ancient history is what really fascinates me, and where I usually tend to focus on. I'm always fascinated by the Crisp Blue Springs, the Santa Fe River, the Ichetucknee. On top of the Swanee, you have these three beautiful rivers, all in a very close proximity to the route. And really, that's where my head goes when I think of the history of the area. Where Graham really likes to, focus on some of the modern history, like Old Bellamy Road and the lumber towns and the Partain industry and all that stuff, which is all super interesting as well. But really, what I would like to communicate to folks is when they're on these roads, they're essentially being transported to another time period, just figuratively, just imaginatively, because these areas have been traveled by human beings for thousands of years, one way or another. Before there were actual roads cut in, these paths were being walked, because that land bridge was how people got over the river without having to cross the river, without having to swim. So
yeah, that's super interesting. Is for folks who don't know. I know we talked about the springs a little bit. I mean, that's such a beautiful part of Florida. I mean, the crystal clear water that bubbles out at, what is it, 74 degrees year round. I mean, for out of staters, and that's literally 8 minutes, 10 minutes down the road from the event site. So you can go for a swim in Ichetucknee Springs at the Blue Hole, the day before or post ride. You can just drive over there, hop in and swim. But the land bridge, tell me about that. I know it's most people, when they think of a bridge goes up and over, but this is just the river is flowing and then the river
goes underground
and then pops up a few miles. So,
yeah, it goes underground, and I'm not 100% sure on the measurements, but I think it's like a 6-mile wide length that it goes under, and then it pops back up, which is, I mean, there may be other places where that happens in the United States, but I know for sure that Florida and the Florida aquifer is quite unique to the area. That's why this area that the event is in is one of the prominent features for lots of our routes and our events, like the Dirt Devil, where we go visit some of these underground springs, like Devil's Den, which is not that far from Lake City, and it's quite unique. If you Google Devil's Den, Florida, because there's a Devil's Den somewhere else. There's a couple of Devil's Den out there. Wow,
sounds like a dive bar somewhere, right?
Yeah, you'll be mind blown by the photos. You'll be mind blown by the photos.
Oh man, Devil's Den. Yeah, that is really cool. I mean, if that Devil's Den bike tour it's amazing, because we get to go swim in a cavernous spring at night. It's such a cool, relaxing 3-day bike tour that Carlos does that highlights the springs in the area and goes over the land bridge too. Like these are the things where I started really getting into bike packing and
Yeah.
seeing these cool places.
Yeah, and so let's chat through that real quick because bike packing and just gravel riding there's a little bit of a difference, and I know Graham and I we've talked about this quite a bit. I'm the triathlete type. I like to know how many miles I'm riding, when it's going to be over, and I think that's the sort of mindset that people bring to gravel is okay. I'm in it. I got 70 miles in me. I can do this. But the bike packing is kind of a different. It's a much more relaxed. Like, hey, we're just trying to get to the next spot at the end of the day, set up shop, and we're just trying to get from sort of point A to point B and have an adventure along the way. And I think that's what this event will be known for is kind of taking people through these routes and these areas, but still keeping them in that comfort zone of like, hey, I got a start line and a finish line, and I'm going to be taken care of along the way. Where they're going to have mechanics out there, they're going to have aid stations, but that's different from bike packing. So you guys want to touch on that a little bit, Carlos?
Yeah, I have a saying: all bike packers will go on a gravel ride, but not all gravel riders will go bike packing.
Yeah, spot on.
And why is that? Because it's a little more logistically complex. If you're going to go bike packing, to just summarize it, is lightweight off-road bicycle touring, whereas gravel riding is doing a lot of what we do when we're bike packing without having to camp. You go back to your vehicle, you go home, you get a room. So in those aspects, it's the same. But the biggest difference between bike packing, aside from the fact that you're carrying everything yourself, you're doing everything yourself, and a gravel day ride, is that the next day, after we're done camping, we're going to get up and go on another 60 to 100 mile gravel ride. Whereas the next day, you might, be driving home or getting on a plane to go back to where you came. Aside from what you mentioned, that's something that we should bring up. November in Florida is the perfect time to ride bikes, where other places are already snowed in. If you're already tired of riding your trainers, come to Florida. The temps are perfect. It's like what you would call it's like Colorado summer, high.
For people up north, it's kind of perfect end of season, right? As the leaves start to change up there, September, October, you only got to put in, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month on your kind of trainer inside to maintain your fitness. And then just, like you said, hop down here to Florida. And, for all those, for Floridians, it's cold to go swimming in the springs unless it's the dead of summer. But anybody else, you tell them the water's 72 year round, they're like, woo, this is warmer than we have back home.
Yeah. The springs, man. I just can't. I mean, it's just insane. Like, you can just keep going. There's so many springs close. I mean, you can go on a 20-mile ride and hit 3 different springs. It's crazy. There's so many between the Suwannee River, the Ishinatuckney River, the Santa Fe rivers are all right there. And all these springs, they're all around. I mean, some of them aren't even part of state parks. They're just there on the side of the road. It's crazy. There's so many. You can't keep up with them. And we're lucky that all this stuff is still there. We're, trying to save it right now, and create awareness about these natural areas. And that's important. We don't want to overdevelop, what's happening in the villages, but,
and I think that's why, we came up with the name of the event, Old Florida Gravel. A lot of people don't know that, Old Florida's a thing. It's a vibe. It's before cruise ships and mega resorts and all that. And it's, as you said, Carlos, kind of transports you back in history, kind of those old Southern homes, people sipping sweet tea on the front porch, a lot of cows. I mean,
so many cows.
I know when we rode together a few weeks ago, I mean, and some of the folks on the ride were stopping to take pictures of some. What are some of the kind of crazy animals we'll probably see along this route?
Dude. Yeah, I mean, besides the people,
there's some roos out there.
Yeah,
there's some coyotes out there.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
I mean, I know I saw cows, sheep, goats.
Oh yeah, definitely
donkeys, horses. I mean, that's all kind of basic farm stuff. I mean, you may come across something a little wilder out there, but it's bringing people back to that early 1930s feel.
Let's go. Yeah, and it's cool. Like, because your base is so much triathlon, and I really love. I mean, as a former triathlete, I love the gear. And this has been a great transition for me because I enjoy all the gear associated not only with gravel riding but bike packing. It's just such a, a different pace, but you can make it, fast and furious too if you want. But it's really cool to expose some triathletes, hopefully from your base, to a new world, especially some of these people, not only local but nationally, to what Florida's all about. Come enjoy what real Florida is.
Yeah, one thing you said is you can ride your own pace, and we've gotten that question from a bunch of people. I know we've discussed this. You guys and I both offline, but people have asked us: is this a ride or is it a race? And
Yes.
we're doing both, right? We're going to have awards for the 35, the 70, the 100. Overall, kind of broad brushstroke with age group awards. That's posted on our website. But that doesn't mean you have to race. You just want to come out and ride with your friends. Come out and do that. That's, I think, the nice thing, even on the pointy end of the big gravel events, Unbound and Barry Roubaix and all these events, is they have kind of the people up front that want to race and see what they can do against like-minded individuals, and you have other people that are just in it to have a sandwich and a cold beer at the end of it and spend time with their friends and look at the cows and the emus they're going to see out there. So having a little bit of something for everybody, and then the different gear that comes with it, right? The racers and the Lycra and their tire pressure, and then everybody else and maybe cut off jean shorts and flannels and
wear some button downs, whatever, doesn't matter. I got sandals now.
Yeah. So what do you guys think people should expect to wear November riding down here in Florida? Those who aren't familiar, what could they encounter temperature wise in that central part of the state?
I think if they're sensitive to weather, like if they're true Floridians or they're from South Florida, it might feel a little cold for them. But anyone from up north is going to be in their jersey and their shirts and think that 58-degree morning start is perfect.
Yeah,
really just depends. Yeah, it just really depends where you're from, because really that time of year, I mean, unless you're used to really hot weather, it's just going to feel perfect.
That's going to be so nice.
Yeah.
Good choice on the time of year, buddy. That's a good date. That's gonna be really good.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to talk with you guys. I know I keep pressuring you guys to stack your teams, but we're having this red line relay on Saturday, which we do in Daytona and at Homestead at the Speedway, and the cyclists love it. It's just each team gets their own stall on pit road, and you have two riders out on track at a given time, and they pull in and you swap off for fresh riders. So we're doing that on Saturday. It's been 90 minutes, as many laps as you can do in 90 minutes divided up by the team. Have you guys thought about that? Forming up your teams for who's going to ride on Saturday?
Let me be completely transparent. I know some of the fastest, strongest riders in the state, and I'm hoping to get them out there. I'm not going to be on the team. That's not me. I'm not fast. I'm super strong. I'm going to be like the manager. I'm going to put together. I'm going to stack a team. Like, I don't be surprised if Team Samurai wins. Let's just put it out there right
Samurai.
now. Because I'm going to hand pick the fastest guys I know, the strongest guys I know, and try to coerce them to come down to do this. Anybody who thinks they can qualify is free to shoot me an email, carlos@singletracksamurai.com. All they have to do to be on the team is they have to register to ride on Sunday. We all got to go ride on Sunday. This isn't just come down for the red line relay. Red line relay is the pre-party. But yeah, man, I intend to put together a savage team. It's one of the things I was thinking about while I was melting in the hot sun this past couple of days.
That's why we got the red line relay. Will be short. It's 90 minutes, but you divide that up by 6 or 8 guys. You can ride for 15 or 20 minutes, cut up at a harder pace the day before. I think it's kind of a nice warm up, nice social thing because it's all contained on the track.
It reminds me of like the 6 and 12-hour races that we. Before I started doing ultra endurance off road, like point to point and loops like these, that's what we would do. That was our ultra endurance, was to go out and see how many laps we could do in 6 hours on a closed course, and that's what it kind of reminds me of. So it's really exciting to see who I can get out there to see if we can. And I'm sure I'm going to give people credit. I'm sure there's going to be some strong teams out there. I'm sure that you guys have historically speaking, Clash Endurance has a lot of strong athletes that participate in those events. I really think some of these ultra endurance riders that come to my events are next level. So we're gonna see. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. But
can we use aero bars? Can we use aero bars on the racetrack?
I mean, I don't even know if they'll help. I think it's like an all-out sprint. How long is the track?
It's like a half mile.
Yeah,
that's an all-out sprint. If you're in the aero bars, you're not going hard enough.
Oh yeah, true.
That's like
trying to create some controversy.
Yes, yeah. Well, if you can't tell I'm pulling out my stink stick. It's pulled out.
Yeah,
I'm putting the challenge out there. Team Samurai is going for the win.
All right.
Yeah.
I won't be racing though. I'll be
on
coaching.
notice. On notice.
Yeah, we covered a lot. So
yeah.
I think we're setting up for an awesome event. I'm glad you guys are on board. I'm glad you guys are so willing to share your routes around the area and your knowledge. Anything else you guys want to say about this event, or any questions you think that people may have that'll arise?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I'm extremely appreciative that that Andre approached Florida Bike Adventures and Single Track Samurai to help with the route creation, because at the end of the day, that's really everything else is kind of like the cherry on top. The swag, the vibes, the party. That's all the cherry on top. But we have a saying at Single Track Samurai that journey is the prize, and the route creation that we're putting into it is going to be part of that journey, and that's the real prize. You're going to be winning the entire time you're out there pedaling. If you've never ridden in Florida, we've got some amazing dirt, for lack of a better term. They use the term gravel. You can use the word gravel to describe all kinds of surfaces, but Florida gravel is quite unique. And if you've never experienced it, then make the time. If you're local and you've never ridden it, I'm not going to shame you for it, because there's no prize in being shamed. Come out and experience this event, or just go out and get your tires dirty, whatever you need to do. A lot of road bikes I know can run 38s. Bring your road bikes. Like Graham said, we wouldn't call a dirt road route, we wouldn't call it gravel bikeable if we couldn't ride it on 28s. That's just a fact. That was our litmus test. I would take my Giant Propel with 28s, and if I couldn't ride 98% of it on my Giant Propel, we would not call it a gravel route. We'd call it an off-road route or a mixed terrain route. Like, we wanted to use the term gravel to describe a route where you could ride, thinner tires on it. That being said, you got a mountain bike, bring your mountain bike. You got a beach cruiser and you want to ride your beach cruiser, bring your beach cruiser. Like, bring whatever you want. You got some tires on that thing, come on out and try it. You'll be surprised what you can do. It's definitely worth the journey.
35 on a beach cruiser, and they totally could.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah, easily.
I mean, if people did Unbound on beach cruisers, the 200, they could do this 35 on beach cruisers.
They did. Yeah, it's been done. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, Graham, you got any final words of wisdom for folks coming in for this event?
Yeah, thanks for making the dream come true. I've been looking at that stupid racetrack for years. So, oh man, it's such a good spot, and I just love. I love the location. When you were talking about it, it's like, I know the racetrack. I had started rides from there years ago, and so I knew like there is no better spot, a central spot to hit. It's just the tip of the iceberg of dirt roads out there. What we're doing. This is a 100-mile route. We could do 200, 300, 400 miles from that location and just hit nothing but amazing dirt. So this is very exciting. Can't wait to see where this goes, and we'll do whatever we can to help.
Yeah, and I've said the dirt track we talked about a bit, but man, the owner of that dirt track, he's got this giant smoker there. He's doing pulled pork sandwiches, burgers. Wow. He does these cowboy nachos. It's it's going to be a good post-race party. We'll have beer flowing for everybody. I know that's a big hit with the gravel crowd. So everything you guys have come to expect from big gravel events is what we're putting on, and everything you guys have seen from us at our other Clash events, our large triathlon and running events, we're bringing that to the gravel scene. So thank you guys, Graham and Carlos, for your help. I know we'll be working together quite a bit in the coming months, and thank you guys for your time this evening, and we're looking forward to November.
Thanks, Andre.
Thank you. Thanks, Greg.